This program has been rated mature by the Gaming Radio Network. It is unsuitable for under 18s due to content of an adult nature, which may be classed as offensive to some people.
And with that, we go live. I press a button, we do that, and then all I need to do is just drag this here and do a quick bit of editing on the fly. This is This Week in New Eden. Hello, 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 hello. How are we doing? We're all good. It's another week. It's Sunday, the 8th of May, 2016. Happy Mother's Day to all the US mothers out there, because it's... Again, I think we've had this conversation before. Can we just get all holidays in the same? Can we just do that, please?
How can we ever have world peace if we can't even get something like Mother's Day all on the same calendar?
Exactly. I mean, really, can we just do that? And let's just do a quick bit of live editing of the show to capture Dirk in properly, because of where... There we go. And now Dirk's center stage. And then we do that, and we do this... And we go like this. Quick bit of last-minute editing for the show, and we can cram it.
Happy Mother's Day to all the Eve moms out there.
Yep.
People like Minxie and Elise Randolph.
Yes.
And other people who take care of the kids.
So it's another thing, another show, another week. And don't show me the mouse. Thank you. Good. There we go. Right, we're good. So let's do this. We've got a special guest this week. We've got Lockfox. How are you doing, sir?
Hey, thanks for having me on. Welcome back.
Yeah, thank you. Again, no show last week because, well, last week it was holiday time. I was away. I was in another country.
Back behind the old Iron Curtain.
It's technically not the Iron Curtain anymore. It's,
Well, not anymore. No, I said the old Iron Curtain.
Oh, the old Iron Curtain. Yeah, I mean, it's only been, what, how many years, baby, has Bulgaria been a democracy? Is it nearly how long is it republic or whatever it is since the fall of communism? 89, 91, something like that. Yeah, 89, 91, something like that.
89 they screamed we're free. It wasn't until probably 90 or 91 before they
until it so
got everything rewritten and everybody else purged.
Yeah, exactly. So if I do that, I just realised if I do that, I'm gonna have to do this and delete you, and then just add you as a capture from Skype video. And there's a reason, because I'll have to edit that later or do something, because it's being stupid. But anyway, there we go. We'll get you in properly. We'll do it. We'll sort it out somehow. I can actually do this properly. But anyway, so. Another week, another bit of talking stuff. So, Citadels, they came, they went, and they got blown up, didn't they? That's all I'm going to say. Citadels got blown the hell up. Is that what happened last week, do we say?
Well, I mean, some have. I don't know how many are down out there, and... I mean, you definitely saw... I mean, what you started to see first, right, were people carrying Citadels around in their backpack and getting blown up.
Yeah.
Those were the first ones.
Exactly. The one... I did see a tweet this week, actually, that somewhere between 300 and 400 Citadels have been made. The Astra House ones. And, I think I saw that somewhere. I think I saw that today on Twitter somewhere. Between 300 and 400. And it's like... Okay, I can understand how many's going to be made.
Holy shit, Matterall's awake already. Dude, it's like way too early for you. You're West Coast.
Well, he's actually up in time, yes. But again, the reason... I'm spilling stuff everywhere. The reason we're here this week, obviously, is to talk about stuff. But, Plexes. Because, look, we've got you on. And again, last week would have been an ideal time. This week, it's it's a slightly bit off. But... The situation with Plexes, was it a bubble that burst, or was it a what shall we say? Shall we move you back there? There we go. Just move you in. Was it a bubble that burst, or was it something very dangerous that people should have been looking at? As in, what the fuck happened, basically?
So there were a couple of things. One, the reason why everybody was panicking is what I'm going to tag the flash crash, and nobody else is going to tweet that, but that's fine. I can be the only person on a hashtag. That's fine.
Hashtag Plex flash crash.
And so that happened on launch day on Wednesday, and then the Weekend Warriors came in and panicked on Friday. So I looked like an idiot on Talking in Stations, which was great. Because it crashed while we were on the air, and I'm like, oh great, that prediction I just made like 10 minutes ago is now broken. But the larger trend, the bigger one that I think that people who want to actually know what Plex is doing and less want to run around like chickens with their heads cut off, is that we continue to see a cash crunch, a liquidity squeeze, where people really, really, really want cash ISK. And Plex has been the very best place to go get it. It's been this way since skill trading launched, everybody wanted cash so they could get into skill trading. And then World War B starts, and everybody wants cash to go fight in World War B. And then Citadels come up, and everybody needs cash to get those extremely expensive blueprints. And so we keep seeing people just churning out Plex for cash. In this cash rush to get money pulled out of the ATM, essentially. Now with Citadels launched, now with the war cooling down, at least into a simmer instead of a hot rolling boil, I expect some of that to come back. The other problem is that since everybody is grinding for cash and they want it now, incomes have been extremely weak. Like, Quant has just tickled pink that in April, more money was spent and sunk than was generated, which is a first as far as I've ever heard. So there's a lot going on, and there's a lot of people. A lot of people are panicking. I think that we're in a place of weakness, but I don't think that we're in a place of free fall crash. So that's I guess my 2 cents on the Plex picture at the moment.
It was interesting to me when I took a week off, and literally I was away for the best part of last week, away on holiday. Come back, best part of 2 weeks ago. Come back Monday, Tuesday. And starting to have a look at the numbers, and then Plexes were like down to 900 mil, 900, 920, something like that, give or take. And it's interesting to see where people are going, oh my God, sell. And it's like, well, no, because this is one of the things. People are always going to want Plexes, whether it be to pay for your account or to convert them, as you said, into ISK, because it is the only legal way of getting ISK with real money. And you're always going to need them, and they're always going to be worth something. But if Plexes went down to like the 250, they never will, but if they went down to 250 million ISK, would it be the end of EVE?
Well, so the thing, there's sort of two sides of the Plex cash question. One is wallet warriors who, like me, have a job and all this other stuff and really do not have time to go grind cash. But I know plenty of people who are college or unemployed or are complete slackers and just generate cash like freaking mad. And we get to trade the fact that they have time and I don't, and that's that transaction. The other thing, and I think this is far more important to the current picture, is that Plex is such an efficient wealth store, just like gold in real life, where you can hold physical gold, and if you really need it cashed out, it's a little bit of a pain in the ass, but the conversion factor can be done reasonably quickly. Nothing has the carrying capacity like Plex. So let's say you have a trillion ISK, right? Just as I'm this guy, and I just want to hold that trillion ISK in some sort of storage. Now, for the last 3 years, the very best way to hold that trillion ISK has been to buy up Plex and let Plex gain essentially interest like it's some weird sort of bond, because Plex just goes up in the long term, and any of the sways up or down have been annoying at most. the thing is that now we come out and everybody wants to cash out. And so if I'm sitting on my trillion-esque worth of stuff and I want my trillion-esque in cash so that I can go jump in on the Fortizar, that's the biggest one, right? The Fortizar Citadel stuff, and I want to go exercise into that position. If I buy in Plex, I can trade into a trillion-esque in Plex reasonably quickly. Like, I can get my trillion-esque in a couple of days if I wanted to be special, and I could do it in a single day if I really wanted it right now. If I had that in minerals, I would have to wait an entire week to wash out a trillion-esque if I were in minerals, because the material market is only a trillion-esque a day, where the RMT market and the Plex market are like 20 trillion-esque a day. And that's really what's going on here, is that it's just like an ATM, except that this ATM changes the price of cash, changes the price of the cash that comes out of it.
That's the thing. When you think about it, the amount that comes out, you've got a Plex. A Plex is currently worth, let's check right now, one Plex will get you on the GTRO market right now. You could sell it to the market for 908 million ISK. You could buy one from the market for 952. You know, if you go back a month, you know, you would have got, you know, just over a billion, 1,022 million. So you can see the drops and you know, and again, doing the graphs here.
It has gone down, but
yeah.
I mean, you know, let's look at the components that are sort of involved here, right? Because I mean, you are talking, you know, very clear supply and demand factors that relate to Plex, probably more so than any other thing in the game. You know, because you can't just go out there and mine for Plex, right? I mean, you know, if there needs to be more supply of minerals, the price will go up and people will go out and mine harder, whatever. Does anybody think that the actual, you know, demand side of the equation is downlocked? That the people who are plexing accounts, like, are no longer plexing accounts, or that's somehow gone down recently in order to drive this? I mean, I agree, you know, because I agree with you that, you know, I think that right now what we have are some people who have cashed out for various reasons that have kind of occurred at, you know, roughly the same time. There's some other things going on out there, and there's also the kind of, you know, I'll call it the retail crowd, you know, who's going, oh my God, it's going down, I have to sell because this is my retirement plan.
Dirk is largely right. So true consumption, the sort of stuff that destroys Plex, so your account time, your New Eden store services, and your skill extractors, I think that raw consumption is up slightly, but that is getting washed out by an order of magnitude more people who just want to use Plex as a cash store. This is talking about the value of ISK per hour at the moment. Is the way to really think about this, is that with grinding stopping in the West because war is going on, we see one of the most valuable pockets of ratting income come grinding to a halt. So there is a cash source that has completely stopped, and as the World War B stuff was going on, everybody would rather be PvPing their face off than grinding cash, and so you saw this huge contraction in ISK generated and a huge expansion in ISK demanded. And so what we're seeing is that essentially ISK per hour has become more valuable.
I mean, I don't know that you had a huge expansion in ISK demanded. Oh,
absolutely, you did. Like this was
in terms of the cost to replace ships lost in this war.
No, that's less it. Like the fact that what are they, the gambling site, I Want ISK had to cash out their stores to go pay the mercs to get everybody under one banner. Like, that is a huge piece of cash demand. Like, you're right that the total business done outside of RMT isn't much higher. Like, it doesn't really even register outside of the normal, only that we're on a slightly positive trend. The real meat of it is that the people wanted cash, and they wanted to go give that cash back and forth, and they wanted to be able to exercise that, because you can't buy ships for Plex. Like, you can't you can pay people in Plex, but they would probably rather have cash, because cash is easy, it can be cut into smaller pieces than Plex.
It would be interesting to know, with like, and forget just I Want ISK or whatever, but any of these casino sites, any of these, big, God knows how much ISK they're holding, right? Do they store their ISK in Plex? I mean, do they convert? Do they, when we hit this point, we always go and buy, X number, however many Plex we can buy with that 500 billion ISK, or, is it every 100 billion ISK we go out and buy Plex, or do they just hold it in ISK?
I think that it would be prudent as a manager to, so all of those gambling sites keep their money until you have to cash out, and so it's on their it's of their incentive to make sure that you have a number in your account that says some big number, but that you just never ask for it. Like, you always want to go and why don't you go to the slots, or why don't you join this this raffle or something, or why don't I give you physical assets instead of cash, because we have those in reserve. And I think that just like a bank does not keep liquid cash reserves, I don't think that I Want ISK would be anywhere close to banking numbers at like 5%, but like, I would expect that only 20% of the cash required to do jobs is available in liquid, and everything else would be handy in Plex.
Yeah, and I don't mean their reserves that they have reserved.
Skill training is destroyed and you
what
died.
They may need to give out to players if they cash out, or when they go and buy ships that they're giving away and things like that. But more their profits. Basically getting to for guys like Lenny Kravitz and Eep and Iron Bank and the bankers who were responsible for handing some money over to these other groups out there. Were they handing them ISK? Were they handing them Plex? Or, I wonder how much of it actually came into this whole Plex thing. For them.
We can see a ripple in the actual demand right around when the World War B stuff started. That a huge number of Plex washed through the market. Like, the business on that day was something like 2x what it was the day before.
Yeah, I mean, it's a question, and like, the number of times that I've talked to one of them related to the funding of the war, right? It was never, and how did you turn that over? Did you give gold to Graf Telkin? Did you, how did you give the money to Tissue and things like that?
Well, it's like they say, oh, we're going to buy you, we'll fund you the ship. So we'll just go, right, how much? What do you need? All right, you need like maybe you need 3,000 rifters, right? Done. There you go. They're not going to give them the cash. So 9 times out, I'm guessing they'll give you the actual chips. But then again, I'm not sure. Am I right? Am I wrong?
Yeah, no, that's sort of what I'm expecting. Is that to fund this particular war, to get everyone under one banner to go against the largest powerhouse in all of EVE. I think that you needed cash to back that up, and whether that was I Want ISK paying directly in Plex and then the people getting paid cashing out those Plex, or if it was I Want ISK cashing out and dealing in cash, like, it's academic at that point, in my opinion, because what we saw was that there was still this demand for cash. And so even if I Want ISK bankers go and say, okay, well, here is a block of Plex, here it is on contracts, so we don't have to pay taxes on it, like, that actually would probably be the smartest thing to do. Those people who get it are like, okay, well, now we need to get all of the physical materials for war, cash out those Plex, and go fill the jump freighters and get the fuck out there. Like that's probably what ended up happening, is that there's still the demand for cash to do business, and you pair that cash demand against the fact that one of the largest grinding incomes in the game was stopped, And now all of a sudden, ISK becomes more and more valuable. And I think that's the picture that we really need to talk about, is that we see the actual ISK become more and more valuable. Like as the price of Plex goes up, that's good for me as a wallet warrior, because then my dollar goes further. But it's worse for somebody who's grinding, because that means however many more hours before they break even.
Yeah.
And they would rather see a low Plex price so that they can grind their stuff and they can do it faster with less issues. And what we're seeing is that because there has been just so much turmoil, the amount of ISK able to go into the Plex market has been falling back. And this is when everybody complains about they'd want to see the price of Plex go down. I mean, we're seeing it right now, what would make that happen. And that is that we need to nerf the ISK faucets and make ISK more expensive, and stop ratting incomes. And this sort of goes, if you want to go and prognosticate, you want to go and forecast, I think we're going to see that a lot of these incomes got ninja nerfed with Citadel. Not just that, now there are new masters of the space, and therefore they won't be able to be as efficient as the old masters, because the old masters had just so much real estate to hold over. We're also going to see that carrier ratting got nerfed, because now carriers can't all Horn of Gondor to each other and spider tank whenever something goes wrong. If you want a carrier rat, you got to have faxes waiting, and you can't have those faxes ratting. So this is a nerf to actual ratter income, because we won't be able to see as efficient an extraction of ratting ISK out of nullsec at all. And that means that the ability for Plex to rise, because the availability of cash is high enough that these people who it is quote unquote easy enough to get the money for a Plex, that line has come down, because, well, now I can only make so many billion a month, and I don't want to spend more than maybe my first week grinding my Plex, so I'm not going to pay Plex prices if they're more than 4 times my monthly income.
Mm-hmm.
Did you say that Quant released something that showed some sort of recent downtick in faucets from ratting?
So he released his quarterly economic report.
Okay, so that was a little dated then, yeah.
Skill training is destroyed
but I mean, April's data should be in there, and we saw from K162 Space's blog. I don't know how much of it he's published directly, but he when I was on the 07 show last, he dumped out, and you could see the hottest periods of fighting meant that all of the ratting came to a stop in those regions. Like Garista ratting went to nearly 0 across the cluster for a couple of weeks.
Well, and and not just that. I mean, right? We've now got a transition. There, how many thousands of ratters lived in places like Vale of the Silent, Branch, Declan, all these places up in the north there, where those people just no longer are at the moment. Not to say that they haven't found a secondary source of income somehow, or maybe they're fighting, or maybe they're not logged in. But there's a lot of people out there that aren't making the money that perhaps they once were as consistently, as well as people on, say, the attacking side, where they're engaged in their side of the war effort. So. That will be an interesting thing to see in upcoming economic releases.
Well, of course it will do. When you look at the war, I'm going to use the real life facet.
War takes a toll on the civilian population.
Of course it does. No, seriously, it does. Your way war works, it works, and you have to look at the effect. Not everyone's going to be getting out there to farm the land, to grow their crops and do all that. And then when that happens, magically, oh look. You can't make your soups, and you can't, you haven't got this, and you haven't got that, and all of a sudden you're eating bread and water and all that and shit, and it's the same in Eve, regardless of what it is.
So you take what little ISK you have left, and then you go to a casino and gamble it, hoping to parlay it into something, which just in turn funds Lenny Kravitz's wallet.
Yeah, there's that too. There's that too.
Eve is real, man.
Eve is real.
And I mean, like, to be completely honest, it's that you're right in a large sense of it. Like, after you burn down all the cities, you have to rebuild the cities.
Of course you do.
But also, all of these new masters are going to have a patchwork of, we were only friends because we shared an enemy, and now that we're neighbors, I don't know if we're going to be as good neighbors. And CFC is still going to come out of the woodwork and do covert ops and fuck your shit up kind of operations in their old homes. So it's going to be a summer of low economic efficiency out in the west and in the north, and that's just going to mean that we continue to see less income means less Plex price, because you can't afford a 1.5 billion ISK Plex if your income has been cut 30-40%.
Exactly. I tell you why you can't afford it. If you're that poor bastard that just he kind of did lose a jump for it a few days ago to incursion rats.
Ouch.
So if you did have people cashing out Plex wealth in order to get liquid to be able to do these things, whether it be buy blueprints, whether it be to finance pieces of this war, whether it be to augment their income because they weren't having income coming in, right? The base demand for Plex, I think, still exists. Where we've seen the slippage is on that on both sides. Money going into new Plex as gold, and that gold being liquidated into ISK on the other side.
Yeah.
However, while I think that you will have some knock-on effect again from the war, I don't see the long-term trend of demand not coming back at some point. I mean, you've got the base demand that seems to always be there. I just think that we're in this period right now where that buying the excess ISK or buying the excess Plex to store excess ISK is kind of in a transition period at the moment.
Yeah, I think that if we're going to go and forecast, I think that being under $1 billion means that if you're looking to hold long-term ISK, now that you've gone and executed whatever you were going to execute, Plex is extremely interesting as an offer there. Like, you are looking at some pretty good prices. And even if Plex does not rise as far and as fast in the future as we have seen in the past, it still holds some 20 trillion ISK a day in business. And you just can't get away from that if you want to store large amounts of cash and you want that cash handy. Nothing beats it. I think we might see some diversification on some fronts, but like I said, even if you put the entire material market, that's moon goo and minerals and salvage and PI all together, and you sum them all up together, it's only 1 trillion ISK a day. And if you are going to be the kind of guy who needs to store hundreds of billions of ISK, you can't expect your wealth store to be larger than about 10% of the carrying capacity, or you're going to have a bad time trying to cash out. You're going to have to sit there on your frickin' hands and be like, well, I can only cash out that 1% per day kind of thing, and otherwise I'll totally crash the market and everyone will have a bad time, and I can't get at my wealth store as fast on any of these other markets. So I think we're going to get back over $1 billion as we start into June, and then we're going to stay extremely flat over the summer. We might see it dip back and forth between 950 and $1 billion, but I think that's where we're going to stay until the fall shows up, where we usually see the biggest heat of people coming back to the game, of grinding activity really getting going again as people go back to college and slack off instead of doing their homework.
See, that's the thing. Summer. It's the one thing with this war is hitting us right at the smack bang of the beginning of the summer as well, isn't it? That's where you've got the people who have got the time to play and sit and do it, but also you get the people who are going to go away on their holidays. So we should see a low boil everywhere. I think it's going to be great for PvP numbers. I think that we're going to see
the health of activity in EVE over the summer actually be one of the better ones we've seen. But I don't think that this is good for people generating incomes. I think that we're still going to see a general weakness of, well, I could, I know that I need to grind money, but there's actual content in skirmishing, or I can't run industrial activities because all of that skirmishing keeps fucking my shit up. Like, I think that we're going to see high PvP activity and low industrial activity.
Well, that's it. You get that. You're going to get the people who want a PvP. They're going to come in for the summer and literally just want to shoot people in the face. And you got the industrialists, and the people who are going to carry on their things they do, they like to do. So you got the miners, the PI people, the researchers, the developers, the builders. All those people are going to still do their stuff over the summer anyway. They're just going to adjust to trends. So if the trend moves away from bombers to moves to interceptors again, or moves around to hacks, or to frigates or whatever, they'll adjust their production accordingly and look at the markets, and they might have stock on hand to sell, but they'll do that. So it won't affect them as much, because those sort of people will just log in, do their thing, go, and that's it, and they'll ship to Jita or whatever. The people, as you said, the people that are going to get hit the most, and we're going to see the hit, is probably the PvPers, because you'll have a rise in the people who want the instant PvP, the instant gratification, if you like, the free, go in, do something, shoot someone in the face, done and go. But then you've got the long-term people, and again, the war as well will have this effect, I think, on the burnout, because
the war, if it already hasn't, is moving into a different phase. This is not Easter time frame when you had, either the potential of major clashes or some major clashes going on, right? There's a bit of a cleanup mode. There's a bit of an insurgency mode on the other side. Maybe we see a pickup as some new offensive begins, or counter-offensive begins, or something like that. But the war as we knew it, I don't know, a month ago, has already changed quite extensively.
And that's that's to be expected to see what is going to happen. It's all about how things go. You see the amount of people that have changed sides and moved across, from like the CO2 move and this and that. And once you see those sort of things happen, you see like Space Monkeys and FCON and all that. That can have a massive change to the war, and a change to what's actually happening before even before it before people just decide, oh, well, end of days, all done now.
Well, and those biggest fights are just so expensive to do. And as much as we can blow our load once or twice on some of the really big, your BTAC-Rs and your O1Ys and all those other great, huge fights, like, that's the sprint. And you just can't keep sprinting and losing Titans and doing all this. Eventually, you're like, my wallet, it hurts, and I'm at the bottom, and I've got nothing left to lose.
Yeah.
Like, you as much as that's news generating and great, and I love seeing the deaths to supers kind of thing. Like, there's only so much ability for people to lose before they stop logging in, before they run out of stuff to lose, before they just get burned out, because again, it's a sprint, not a marathon. And I think we're going to go into the marathon phase of this, where everybody's going to be doing sub-capital fleets and a few capital engagements. We're going to see stuff sort of again be that low simmer as opposed to full on boil. As total kill counts go up, but we won't be seeing everybody get 10,000 people here on this cluster, and we have to fight and we have to win, and it's the future of everything. Like, the future of everything is over. Now we get into the grind of living.
Well, that's it, though, isn't it? That's where you look at it. What's going to happen in EVE in the next? We know now, or we've known for a while, that we've got Citadels now. We know the next thing, we're going to have the drilling platform. We're going to have, stuff like this through the year. There's going to be the tweaks through the summer. And it will be how CCP play this out will ultimately affect how the player base deals with it. Because if, I can't remember. It might have been you, Doka. It might have been someone else I heard saying that we now know that this summer there's not really going to be any major content this summer. It's going to be fixing any broken bugs, quality of life changes for the expansion that's just come out, and just making sure it all runs smoothly like a well-oiled machine. Now, when I heard that, there's two. I had a good feeling and a bad feeling. The good feeling was good. CCP had learned from their past mistakes. They now know they need to do this and get this working and make sure it works. Not just, go and work on maybe just having it done and sorted. The bad part of me is there'll be those people out there that go, where's the content? Where's the content? Where's the content? Where's the content?
They just put in a major expansion. I mean, even by historical EVE expansion terms, what they just did with Citadel would have been a traditional 6-month expansion.
Oh, definitely. I agree with you on that 100%. 100%.
Well, and I think that you might be a little bit catastrophizing because, we
catastrophizer.
So one, I think that it's useful to remember that CCP is a European company, and so holiday time is far more liberal than us Americans might think, or some of our Asian friends might think. That we should expect that CCP is basically unreachable during August and September.
Yeah.
So that's 2 months out. They're mostly unreachable during December, so we don't end up seeing content there, but the game runs on just fine. I think that it's prudent to be like, okay, well we'll release in May, and then we have June to get out the biggest patch, and maybe up through July to start maybe getting a little bit of things out. Like, we should see more events, I think, is going to be the thing that makes this different. That like we had Garister and Frostline and all those kind of things. We're going to see a Sancho one if it hasn't already started. And those seem to be easy enough to produce to keep the sort of emails coming out to people if you're a promoter. And I think that players have enough to do until CCP comes back from break to be interested and to be busy. That I think that once September comes to a close, we're going to start getting hungry for content, and CCP will be there and we're ready with whatever blank, because we've been working 70% on that, and we've only been telling you that we've been working on the fix it thing 30%, because that's what you guys need to hear.
Well, that's what, again, remember, Dirk, we've had this conversation before, and I know, like me and you've probably had this back and forth on Twitter before. The player base is changing. It's not, the old guard is stepping down, if you like, to say those people who would literally be there all year round and be fine. They're moving on. They're having kids.
And there's other people coming up.
There are, but the difference is the other people that are coming up. Some of those people will be like the old guard, but the majority of them are, I don't want to say millennials, because I am technically a millennial, but they're millennials that want their quick, easy fix and then they move on to the next thing.
Well, but so Rise and Fozzie have, for instance, really come into their own as senior developers over the last year. That I think that between finishing up a lot of the what is it, Tyricide, going into Citadel, and driving the sort of content through mechanics, I think that Rise on the new player experience, basically telling us last year that we're tired of hearing you on the forums because you're wrong, and we've A/B tested to prove that you're wrong. So go ahead and be mad that you don't like the new player experience, but the math says it's working, and it's working better than it ever has. And Fozzie, again, with his, as much flack as he caught for FozzieSov and the Phoebe changes, we're seeing that movement and place matter finally. And as much as maybe the timers are maybe a little fast, still. If you wanted to argue about semantics and specifics, we're seeing content move at a speed that Eve has never seen. So I think that the sort of catastrophizing that we're losing Fox 4 and we're losing a lot of people who are hitting their 6th and 7th and 8th anniversaries at the company. To be honest, from a technical career ladder kind of thing, that's part of business.
Exactly.
You reevaluate your career at like 4 years and 8 years, and you ask yourself, am I doing what I want to be doing? Is there something new I want to be doing? Is there a friend who's come up with a thing and we want to go do something new? Do I have a family now and I need to get into something more secure than games? There's a decision point that says, what is more important to me? And maybe the thing you were doing in your 20s isn't what you want to be doing in your 30s, because that's me entirely. I just made that transition not like 3 months ago. So I completely sympathize from a real life perspective, and not going to go catastrophizing and going, oh God, Eve is dying, because they bring in these people in chunks, and they're going to leave in chunks because they're going to hit their anniversaries about the same time.
Well, I think that with what has happened with the war, with the Citadel release that has come up, I think that there is plenty of content potential material out there to drive things well into this year, if the players take advantage of it. You've had a fragmenting of nullsec space out there. You've had whatever you want to call it has happened to the Imperium. I mean, obviously, it's quite obvious just on its face, right? That, certain alliances from the Imperium have gone away. Some of the people who don't want to strictly participate in a war but want to get their Care Bear on maybe have left to gone other places. The people that were literally hiding under the skirt have said, now's a good time to get out from under the skirt because the skirt no longer protects me. The other groups out there are going to do whatever it is that they're going to do. Some of them are going to seek to settle places. Others are going to move on to their next engagement, right? But you also have all of this other space out there in nullsec that people are now going to be taking a different look at how they're doing things and what's going on with their neighbors nearby. With the whole Citadel thing, HiSec comes into play. I mean, you could have something that goes on where they sit there and say, you know what, we shall not let a Citadel live in HiSec. And who knows, maybe there's a group out there that that says that's going to be their shtick. And you end up with this kind of war engagement going on in HiSec because of what Citadels are.
Exactly.
I think the tools are in place for the players to take advantage of. Now, whether or not they do or how they do is a different story. But I don't think there's anything holding back the level of activity or content that would kind of normally occur.
Just quickly looking at the Citadel numbers, actually, Astra houses, they've been on the market for quite a while now. There's a fair few of them in Jita. Right now, you're looking at paying about 2.139 billion. For an Astra house. That's to buy right directly off the market. There is currently 2 Fortizars on the market as well. One for 52 billion and one for 49.9999999.4 billion ISK. No Keepstars yet, because obviously they wouldn't have come out of manufacturing just yet. The thing that gets me is, again, I could buy one. I could buy an Astra house right now. Funnily enough, someone in my corp, Mr. Money Dave, was talking about buying one. And I said, well, we could buy one. I've got the money. I said, but just wait. Wait a little while. It'll come up. And again, there might, as you said, there might be these corporations out there that are dissent that say, we are just going to take them out. You are not going to have them up in HiSec unless you pay us a protection fee. I'm looking at code, possibly, or a variation of code that could do that. And, you look at the service modules and stuff that for... the startup cloning center, you're looking at 650 million ISK just for the cloning center. The market hub, which you can only obviously put on the larges or higher one, just over 2 billion ISK for the market hub. So, and the reprocessing is 60 mil right now.
What are you seeing out there in terms of trends on the PI side of things? The materials needed to build these. Are we seeing an upward trend holding? Has it leveled off?
It's starting to come back because, again, people have been stockpiling for 6 months in the expectation that it was going to be big, and there are a few that are tracking up here and there, but a lot of them are sort of settling into their spots, so they're going to fall slightly, a few percentage points, but then they're going to stay relatively stable there. I don't think that unless we start seeing a real, so what we're seeing right now is the whole land grab to install them in the first place, and until we start seeing what the actual destruction rates sort of fall out to be, and if people can keep them up in certain places, I don't think that we'll see big fallout on the PI market until after we understand just how many Citadels we have to replace. Like, I think everybody was ready to build their first one, and until we start talking about, oh, well, shit, we have to build a second one, do I think we're going to see trends move around?
I think so. Well, that's what it is. And that's the difference. Where you look at it like that, people can, as you said before, like I remember you said it a while ago, you said it on the Prosper, there wasn't enough PI on the market to build one XL, let alone...
Yeah, back in December.
Yeah.
Well, are you talking about the high-end, whatever the hell you want to call it, the Tier 4, what is that, advanced material or whatever?
Yeah, the Tier 4 materials.
That was always a terrible market. And I think I think it was just one of those things where those items were used for for very specific purposes, right? If you're a lower level PI operator, it was almost dumb to take it to a specific Tier 4 material.
Yeah.
You're better off selling intermediate type products because.
Oh, I disagree.
Well, because they can be used in more things. They can be used in the choice of the, if somebody wants to build something, they can take those and then they can just run those up into whatever it is they want.
Yeah. So what we've done in the past in my Faction Warfare Corp was that, since we were newbie oriented, we sort of had two tiers where newbies that came in were like, how do I make money? We were like, okay, well we have these PI planets and you can grind it. It's essentially free ISK. And then we had the more veteran players with some cash on hand to be like, and we'll absorb it into at market costs so that we don't have to deal with a jump freighter jump. We'll go put it into a farm for higher ends. You're right about the fact that the markets for the high end PI just completely suck because there was nothing to really consume them into. Like, they had to go into POS materials and into POCOs, but POCOs used like less than 10 units a piece of the stuff, and POSs might use enough to count, but like how many large towers really die at any given rate? So I'm hoping that this gives a new higher base so that we can talk about a lot more diversity in the PI market, because when it comes to doing the PI ClickFest, I always thought that it was far more. It was always like, it was easy to say for low end people, like, look, you're just into EVE and you need to make your 100 million ISK a tick or per unit time. You've got the time while you're reading wikis or while you're between fleets. This will be the income you need to keep up, and then you'll probably transition out of it in about 3 months. Because you'll be like, okay, I can't click anymore. Please tell me something else to do. And now I have skills to do something useful. Now that we have more high end, it makes more sense to actually be like, well, I mean, if you wanted to double down and you wanted less clicks, but now that you have cash, you can do the higher end. Well, now you can overlord against the other newbies and sort of work your way up the chain if you're feeling industrial. So I'm hoping that we see a lot more material moving through the market so that a lot more people can participate on the high end, and we can just see a rising tide rises all boats kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, back when I used to be heavy into PI, it never seemed worthwhile from a time or effort perspective, because the market to sell to on the high-end material just wasn't robust enough. And again, I just think that had to do with the fact that you just didn't run it up there because then the profit just wasn't enough by the time you got done to take it to that level.
I remember that.
Again,
Don't
it absolutely may have changed. It doesn't sound like it if they're saying back in December, there wasn't even enough to build one. That just reminds me of the way it used to be. There, the market just wasn't a whole lot for that.
That's what it
Yeah, and it was prone to bubbles that would pop. So you'd be working your thing for a week, and then your stuff would be in the toilet the next week, and you'd have to change. So, like we had to do a lot of engineering to make the product chain worth it for the people who wanted and could do it. And it was basically like it was a 10-to-1 reduction kind of thing too, where you had to have 10 people grinding low ends to feed one guy running high ends kind of thing. And I'm hoping that comes down because that 10-to-1 reduction, I freaking hate that number. But that's because I'm an industrialist at heart.
What are you seeing on the Moongoo side? Not the base material, but anything that has been gone up, because there have been. Forget about the moons that have been lost out there as a result of the war and people retreating from territory and things like that. But the countless farms that were out there, just had to be thousands of moons that had Moongoo farms on them.
Yeah, what I ended up seeing was that we saw a huge uptick in the base raw material, your R32s, your R64s, because if you go and you conquer one of these money moons, and you go and you put yours up, you're not going to go put a reactor on there. You got to put a Dick Star or a Death Star, and you're using every power grid and every CPU to make sure that the next guy doesn't just take it back. And just we're not prepared to do the rest of the chains. I think that now we're going to start seeing that movement be fixed. I think that there was basically a 4-week period to start up, in my opinion, and that's just now completing. So we should start seeing things go up. But the thing was that the base materials have gotten extremely cheap, half because people were like, well, I didn't have farms set up, and half because the old masters were like, well, the stuff that I'd been holding in reserve, screw it, I'm burning it, I'm selling it. So you sort of saw a 1-2 punch there.
Yep. Yeah, I think that I think some of that is a wave that has yet to kind of play out, because again, the time to process a lot of those moons, you have to feel confident that you're going to be staying in space, kind of settling space before you start putting up 40, 50, 100 of these towers again, as we're blanketed across much of Imperium-owned space.
Yeah, and I'm looking particularly close to this one because I'm invested in it. The moon market is actually one of my personal favorites.
It's always good to see when the moon market will always shift. The one thing that I think will impact that a lot is obviously the winter. When the drilling platforms change, so we know that it's going to change from, well, not a direct change, but when towers, when their replacement starts coming in, obviously they won't go until that happens. But when that comes out, and when we start seeing the first dribs and drabs of that on Singularity and the first bits on the forums, then will be a very, very interesting time on the market, because the market will be all over the place. Because obviously, remember, this happened.
Well, that is going to be a major shift in what goes on with the entire Moongoo market. Once we begin to get some of those details, we'll be able to look at it a little bit better. But yeah,
I just can't wait to see that.
Major shift.
That's going to be fun, because remember what happened with the Bowhead. When the Bowhead was first announced, and there was everything on there, and everyone, and as everyone has always said,
know. What happened because of the Bowhead?
Well, the Bowhead BPC.
Mike Azariah got a ship to fly around.
Well, that too. No, it was Randall McNally from High Dragon. That he was going to build some, and he had everything set for it. And then on release day, the actual components were different. So he was like, "Fuck you, CCP," and was like, as everyone says, the stuff on the test server isn't final until it hits Tranquility. It can always change.
Well, yeah. That's going to happen. But even the general concept behind how moon mining is going to change in the future is going to cause a monumental shift. Because I'm just going to naturally assume that it's not going to be. I mean, just given the way the other structures are, right? To where you're no longer pinned to a moon the way a pause is. If they take down this kind of passive mining source and do something else with it, these are just serious shifts in what we've always known for moon mining.
I like the presentations at FanFest. They were said about there'll be active stuff, so you actually you get there to be an active bonus and stuff like that, and that means actually people will do and play the game rather than the old coin that I phrased, AFK the game, because that's what a lot of people did for a while. Hell, I used to do it.
Well, and so my only concern is that since the Tyrus moves, and since we see a far more diverse PvP meta than we did when we had OTEC, my only concern is that we still don't see Tech 2 material consumption anywhere near the carrying capacity of the cluster. That just like we can, that there is more Tritanium out there than anybody could ever want. Like, it's just a matter of getting it and shipping it. I think that we still see a lot of constraint there, that if CCP were going to say bonus how much material comes out, because if you put a drilling platform down, you're going to get 10% more, and if you have somebody actively messing with it, you get 10% on top of that. Well, except that there's nothing to absorb that. And I mean, we'll see how the capital modules play out. I don't know if they're going to consume enough to really offset it. I don't know what exactly has to change in the game to get the consumption numbers up, because otherwise you have to make hacks the I win button the number one ship in the arsenal again, and I really don't agree that that's the best thing to do. So I'll be keeping a close eye on it, and I know that Quant is looking at all the numbers, and in Quant I trust. So
Quant you trust. I love that.
God, he sends me just the best shit, man.
Does he? Is he like you've got like a secret, a secret Skype conversation ongoing?
We share graphs back and forth, because I'm like, oh look, check out this one I'm working on. He's like, oh, that's neat. Here's the one I'm working on. And
I don't know. Quant's Quant's kind of yesterday. The big the big one that everybody's got a hard on for now is Ghost. So I don't know.
I know.
I'll tell you what was good this week.
They always jump on the new guy.
Jump on the new guy. What was good this week, and I've just dropped loads of crisps on the floor. I'm sorry. I'm going to get something thrown at me. There you go. This week, I got the new issue of PC Gamer this week in the UK. Same one.
I think you tweeted out something the other day about an
I
article.
tweeted the picture out of it. It's
Physical media?
Physical media. Yeah, I buy it from time to time.
How vintage.
I know. Well, I sometimes
The
buy it from
freaking Easter War, for Christ's
Well, you know
sake.
why? This was taken from the article that was on PC Gamer that was done by Shaka Stevens. Michael, I can't remember his actual name, but Michael, whatever his name is.
And he called it the Easter War?
I don't think he called it the Easter War, but it was. I'm going back through Twitter.
Because I think he's smarter than that.
It was done by Andy Kelly, was the guy that actually wrote it in the magazine, because he's the editor-in-chief or whatever for it. And he tweeted back to me and said, "Oh, it was written by it was the great article written by such and such. It was tweeted out a while ago. Michael Bonnet." And I don't think it says Easter War in it. Let me have a look. It does say Easter War in the article. Let me see.
Never Not World War B. I love that title.
I mean, even I would prefer to see World War B.
And it does have World War B in it as well. This was from April 5th, though. The original post was this one. I'll post it there. From that was the original post. I'll post it everywhere so everyone can see it. That was what it was. And it does say, it says, still from World War B. There's that one. And then World War B's on a YouTube video. But it also says the Easter War, because this was back before even CCP were calling it World War B. They were still calling it the Easter War. And it's good publicity. I love this sort of stuff coming out there.
Oh, sure.
And,
I mean, anytime that anytime that we have some real stuff, right? I mean, Eve players are going to pick it apart, because usually there's like either at least a few or a great many details that are just wrong.
Yeah.
But if you're on the outside reading it, even those wrong, you don't know that those details are wrong, so therefore you're reading it, and hopefully it's a good story.
Oh, exactly. I'll quote it because it was quoted from the thing. It's like, where was it? A new anti-Imperium coalition, calling itself the Money Badger Coalition, was formed. Battles over valuable moons in the Harkonnen system broke out, costing around a combined 1.1 trillion ISK, or around $20,000 actual money. I hate that. Please stop saying that.
Why? I know it's a pet peeve of yours, but again, for people out there who are reading these things and don't know any better, it adds some sizzle to the to the story.
Oh, I totally agree. But when they say actual money, if they had said, oh, the conversion to RMG and this, no one would get it apart from the very few that read it. But yeah, it's just a pet peeve. It's just weird. But you had that this week, and that came out, and and somebody said to me as well, maybe it's a coincidence that comes out this week, and oh look, Eve is free on Steam this weekend. It's called tactical marketing. It works very well. I talked to my girlfriend about this. She's in marketing, and she said this works 100%. This is what you do.
I don't know. I mean, because I think that we would have had the Steam sale this weekend. Anyways, they always do it on Mother's Day. It is a niche that they've been trying to go after for years. They're trying to get more moms to play the game.
Really? Yeah.
No, not really.
I know,
but
I know.
actually, the best article.
Don't we have to make if we're gonna go after that demographic? Don't we have to be really mean and be like, we need to pick 3 games?
The thing that I did like.
Oh shit! I can't put it. I'm gonna put it here in. I'm gonna put it in.
No, don't worry. I saw it. I can go like
the Polygon article.
I can redo that because I'm in IRC to see it, so I see all the links.
This right here, I think, is from my recollection, the best ever article written by a non-EVE source about EVE Online. I think that the interviews that they did in there and the comments from the development team really hit spot on to so much of what is the beating heart of EVE Online. And I think it really is kind of a must-read, just as far as a good quality real media article goes.
Yeah, and again,
I mean, obviously it's not CNN or BBC or Wall Street Journal or anything like that, right? It's Polygon, but and then there was another one out from Vice, which I thought was also good. I mean, some of the stuff was a little bit propagandish, but this one was not. I didn't find this propagandish at all. I found that that it was well written and really got to the heart of EVE. The Vice one, though, I thought was also a good article. There's been some very good articles that have come out. There's also been some very shit articles that have come out, but this I think is literally the best I've ever seen from the outside media.
Well, again, this is the whole point.
Gaming media.
And again, remember we had FanFest not only two and a bit weeks ago, and that's the annual get together where CCP are going to get all the journalists there. They're going to talk about stuff. The stuff's going to come out, really in force, up in your face straight away. And then eventually, and Dirk, by the way, I re-added you as a mod again because I don't know why it was removed. But anyway, you can post again, links again, it's fine. The point is, you get this out, then it's CCP's annual. We're great. Look at us. Look at what we can do. Look at Valkyrie. Look at what's going to happen with Nova. Look at what's happening with EVE. Look at our other projects. Look at what we're doing with everything out there and pushing it out to the world. They had a massive win with the launch of the Oculus Rift, which we talked about, and the Vive, and the fact that now, Valkyrie support are going to be supported on both those platforms, and also, Gunjack is now on, the Steam store for those platforms as well. Everything is a massive win with that, and they are rolling over really well, and slowly and surely they're slowly pushing that boulder uphill, and they're gonna get to that point where it wins. And I like it, and again, this is what people have said to me before. Oh, well, you were so anti-CCP. I was anti-CCP when they were being douche nozzles and not listening to the community and not doing stuff and just saying, yeah, we're great, we're gonna ride a limo, woo, and all that. And they've learned. People voted with their wallets and learned and moved on. And that's what happens.
Well, from the business side, I think CCP has really grown up in the last few years, especially under since Siegel's taken over. I think that there's a top end of management that has really changed direction. As much as we give crap for all of the EA DICE guys coming on, like I'd been saying back right after EVE Vegas that I didn't expect 2016 to be a great year for EVE, because I was expecting CCP to really double down on their VR stuff, and they have proven me wrong that they've been able to deliver on both the EVE front and make really great changes to EVE, even if the Citadel release was delayed later than I think that anybody inside really wanted it to be. But they're also being able to deliver on this brand new market to basically, like, the sort of tinfoil I had for business development was that I think CCP wants to be the id of VR, in that they produce a couple of games, but they also produce the engines so they get CCP's little logo on every third VR game that comes out. And I think they're positioning themselves extremely well. And I was afraid that the VR move was going to we were going to lose EVE stuff because the VR stuff was too important, and they're proving me wrong with being able to deliver two things at once, like they haven't been able to before.
I think I just want to reply to the comments in Twitch. To Bad MP3, Glassdoor says something about that. They don't like upper management people still. Well, and as it says, humans would naturally complain more than giving praise. When something's wrong, you'll complain like a mofo. But when something's good, you just deal with it. It's happy. You don't need to complain.
Well, and I mean, management versus business development, I think is more the point I'm trying to say, is that I don't pretend to know what management is really like, but as a CCP, as a business, to try and make sure that they have a second and third source of income that isn't just the one-trick pony of EVE. I think where they may have failed on Dust 514, and they may have only been moderately successful in China, they are really knocking it out of the park with VR, and I think that they're really getting the right people in the right places finally.
Well, definitely. And again, this is, we had the dark days of EVE Online where, as we said, developers didn't really care, and it was, we're going to do it and you're going to love it and we don't fucking care. And switch that around 2 years, 3 years ago. You remember, Dirk, you remember when I wrote that the 3 years old bust.
And Bad MP3 called me out for being on too many shows and repeating myself over and over again. But I do try and hope that they're different audiences. But anyways, I'm going to say something that I said the other day. There was a time when CCP didn't communicate well, and it was also a time when the subscriptions were going like this. They were going on an upward trend, okay? You could make the case that maybe once, maybe once the CSM got too much power, once there was too much outcry from the community and things like that, that maybe now they become too reactionary, and maybe they're doing some things that, some people don't buy into, and the growth of the game is stalled. I don't know. They made a pretty damn good game back when they were bad communicators. They hit a wall, maybe. I don't know. It's hard to sit there and say that they didn't make a good game back in 2008, 2009 before the Summer of Rage.
Well, and again, as much as we like to pretend that EVE is insular and its own little bubble, all MMOs turned around the same summer. Like, we saw a huge glut of places that just wanted to get subscription fees and were crappy games and have been either money grabs or just not that interesting or a clone of this plus this. And the MMO genre has been in decline for just as long as EVE has been in decline. And EVE is a niche product with space psychopaths. So to have the entire thing shrink just responds to that as well. So I get a little twitchy when people are like, well, after the Summer of Rage and they ruined everything and now they're not doing it. Like, they have to work with a lot less heat in the oven essentially. Is that where you could get away with, oh well, we're just rock stars, and you take it or leave it because MMOs are the hot thing right now, to nobody plays MMOs, and we have to corral the few embers we have left on the fire to try and make sure that we create the best game. Like, we've seen a huge way of work shift since Siegel took over, and we've seen a lot of these devs come into extremely strong senior roles, like Fozzie might be getting crap for having the you become Ghost what's his butt, or or you quit kind of thing. You live long enough to become the villain kind of thing. But they're really coming into their senior game cadence and doing some amazing work. And the thing that I think that people sort of overlook is that, like, so I love Quant's work, and I know everybody likes seeing the economic graphs, but I don't think people really understand exactly the scope and depth of what Quant really does, in that the sexy market graphs he makes are the proof of concept to make sure that the tool that's fetching the data works, because it's easy to sort of understand. That hangar view that he put off in FanFest this year, that talks about the actual value of everything in the game, and that they couldn't have done it before they got this 0.5 terabyte of RAM cluster, means that when they set that special keep star, the special Trump Tower keep star price, they weren't just throwing a thing in the thing and like, I've never seen someone with more than a couple of trillion ISK, like it can't possibly be out there, and they can actually say, no, this is the actual value of things. And even if the richest people all got together in a shadowy cabal, even if they did like each other, and they probably don't, then they couldn't do it. They'd need more than they have. And we can chart the things through time, and now we have the data we need to make the decisions that we need to make. And I think those data-driven decisions are really, really shining through, that for all of the consternation that comes out through the forums and through Reddit and through the tweets, what people say and what people do are not necessarily the same thing. And I think that that's finally showing some dividends.
Are you saying like the I'm going to cancel my 15 accounts and my friend's going to cancel his another 20 accounts? People really may not have had that many accounts, and pretty much they're like, well, you know what, if you cancel it, go on, do it, we'll see you come back, because CCP they know if people are going to cancel their accounts, because they physically
and it's
know.
this vocal 1%, like throwing a shit fit and getting on the news and getting to their favorite platforms because they have an audience, and there's something to be said for that audience. But by and large, when you look at like the thing that flew me back last year in Quant's thing was that, like, we call EVE a PvP game, and then he pulls out the numbers, and PvP damage done is less than 1/100th of the damage done to NPCs. And you sit there and you're like, well, maybe EVE isn't a PvP game.
Well,
maybe for all of the talk that we give and all of the lip service we do about it, maybe we do need to talk about a better NPC environment. Like the pushes
except for the fact that if there wasn't PvP, if there was not the destruction going on, there would be no need for more than like 5 industrialists in this game.
Yeah. But like, you saw that after Quant's talk last year, that the whole summer was spent on bringing up drifters and making a new AI and trying to deliver on new systems, whether they passed or failed. Like, I know that the drifter incursions didn't quite work, but like that set the pace for development, because they had the information that, man, a lot of people are consuming this content, and yeah, that content is pretty freaking dry. What if we made it better? Like, what if we actually did get drifter incursions to work? And if we had a more interesting AI, and if we made PvE content less rote and more dynamic, we'd keep people entertained more. And maybe they'd stay in the game because the grinding time that they're not in PvP fleets. So if you spend 1 hour PvPing, you're probably spending 2 to 4 doing not PvP. Like, what if we made those 4 hours more enjoyable? Maybe they wouldn't cancel the game. They'd actually be like, making money is fun.
You know what? I think that if what CCP wanted to do was create a game that generated the most subscriptions possible, okay, there are some very easy, tried and true methods for doing that. In a way, we almost have to thank them, okay, for the fact that what the people who do play EVE for long times, okay, is that they haven't gone that route. They could have driven this to 1 million subscribers. They could have turned this into a goddamn arcade funland.
Yep.
And it would not be EVE Online. It'd be some other shit game out there.
It wouldn't be. You know, I mean, I'm going to pull the comparison to WoW with Blizzard. Or Blizzard with WoW. You look at the way that, people have moved from content. Blizzard now announced, they don't announce their numbers anymore because they don't need to, or they never had to, they don't want to. But the amount of people that still play and people go from content to content to content, they had WoW tokens this year and similar things like that, where you look at it that they're one of the only, they're the only other big game out there that's a subscription-based MMO, I believe. There might be a couple of others I might not be thinking, but that's still actually running, and it sets the bar. You get content out there, you keep patching the content and bringing things to the players. Okay, yes, WoW is a theme park game, and it's completely different. It's not as PvP-centric or player-generated content-centric as EVE is, and Blizzard know that, but hell, there was this discussion recently, you may or may not have seen it in the gaming press, about the classic WoW realms, Nostraladus or whatever it was, that got shut down, which had over 150,000 people playing on it, that basically were playing on a classic WoW server with all the new updated stuff, but just in classic mode, and they got it shut down, and Blizzard now in talks to them about potentially doing something like that, along that, because they're looking at their old ways of doing it. Now, that wouldn't work for EVE, but it shows that game companies, the same as CCP do, they talk with their player base and engage with them and get good feedback. As well, Final Fantasy 15 is still a sub-game as well. Final Fantasy 14 is. And it's about engaging with your player base, because without that player base, whether it be new players, old players, or whatever, you haven't got a game. The player base is there. Whether you play Candy Crush on your phone or some other game on your phone that is quick, or you play it a browser-based game, or Rocket League or The Division or anything like that, you've got to have that engagement. If you don't have it, people are just going to walk away in this day and age in 2016. I hate to say it,
well,
but
it's true. They are, but I know that they're doing things now because it's not like growth doesn't mean anything to them, right? Profit growth or anything like that, right? It's not that doesn't mean anything to them, but they could make this a completely different friggin' game if they wanted to, in order to generate incremental income out of it.
Definitely could.
It just wouldn't be what it is, and so at least they're holding that. I mean, if CCP were a public company with a traded stock, holy shit, the pressure to have done that would have been immense.
Yeah,
EVE would have been dead by now if that were the case. They would have just
EVE, as we know, would have been dead.
We wouldn't have got Tech 3. They would have just milked us for every penny and then left the rotting corpse, like so many other MMOs.
And it's not to say that they cannot improve upon various areas. One of the things that always comes up is the new player experience. I'm gonna tell you right now that yes, the new player experience is important. You want to get people through that thing, but EVE is a game of time. It's a game of commitment. It is a game of, you're going to have to put some initiative into it, because the baseline thing is not necessarily, this is just like the most spectacular PvE, let me go shoot red X's, type thing in the world, right? So the new player experience can be improved. It's not the end all. The PvE experience can be improved. It's not the end all, because the core of this game is not the PvE. The core of this game is the interactions between players in a myriad of ways, one of which being PvP, the other one being industry-related stuff and how it affects this giant circle of life social simulator bullshit thing.
Exactly, and that's what it is.
And I think that Dirk, you're right, but the core of this game, the players are the feature. Like,
Yeah.
to make a sandbox work, you need to have the players. And as much as we're going back and forth, and Eve is a PvP game, Eve is a PvE game. Like, the point more is that if I were a senior dev and I'm looking at the stuff and I'm saying, well, we've done all this great work to make sure that PvP is engaging and interesting and whatever. And then you go to Quant, and Quant says, well, except that on any given day, people do this 10 times more than they actually shoot their guns at other players. You have to say to yourself, well, if the PvP is the dessert, if the PvP is the savory nugget that people are clamoring for to get to, what are they doing with the rest of their time? And can we either make it so they can get to PvP faster? That's an option. That's a thing on the table. Or do we want to make it so that the other 5 hours of gameplay for their 1 hour of PvP is more entertaining? Like, what can we do to make sure that the players stay here, are out in space, actively doing things? Because by doing at keyboard activity, they are content, and whether that's content to be killing red crosses, or that's content to be ganked, or content to be punching each other in the face, people are the content, and you have to make sure that the people are getting stuff to do, and that even their most boring stuff is not soul-crushing, as interesting, is whatever, that to make sure they don't go, well, I could resub again, but man, grinding Plex just is totally harshing my shit. Like, I'm gonna go play Rocket League instead.
Exactly. If all your
is harshing my shit.
Harshing my shit.
That's okay. That's me. To be completely honest, like, to sit here and be like, I gotta grind. If I'm gonna grind Plex, man, I need cash. Or I could go play Rocket League. And that's just because of the amount of time I have to give. So, there's just this bounty of the best games ever, and there's more best games ever out there right now than there ever really have been, and there's so much time to fight for. And
I think the thing that kind of concerns, I don't know, the old guard of the game, right? Because I don't think anybody wants to see what made Eve Online. Oh, hello. Go away. Although they're not necessarily against things that will make it more enjoyable for people. But I know, at least with me, there's this idea that I want it to be more fun for somebody who just wants to PvE. I want it to be more fun for that guy that can only log in maybe an hour a day, or heck, 2 hours a week. Whatever. But you can't have your cake and eat it too.
True.
You're not going. You shouldn't be able to put in little effort and become Johnny Tycoon, or expect that you're going to become Johnny Tycoon, right? That you are somehow going
you're
to
talking
accrue
about
and amass wealth.
But you're talking about the full scope of rewards. Like, I'm not saying that your ISK per effort should go up. Like,
Right,
I'm all for keeping that flat. But the sort of grindy bullshit that you're like, man, I gotta click through an hour's worth of PI on 5 characters to keep my income going so that I can fund my PvP. Man, that content sucks. Do I really want to go and do that the whole time? Like, maybe I'll transition to something new, but like, the opportunity to do more things and to make that content entertaining. That's the word I'm trying to use. Not make it easier. Not put.
Oh no!
Not
I
put
wasn't saying that
not,
to you.
Not put
I was
bumper
just saying
lanes
it
up
in general.
And make this game like,
Bumper lanes.
Yeah. Not some regressive liberalism, if I may use a trigger word there. I want to see things be more entertaining, because for fuck's sake, it is a game. And if I only have 2 hours a week, like, do I really want to spend that 2 hours a week grinding minerals on in a thing? Maybe not. Maybe I want to go do drifter incursions, or maybe there's a whole laundry list of things to do, and my buddies are all ready to go, and we can just go do it, and we don't have to sit there and go, well, then we have to spend 3 hours doing this, and then we have to all be at this thing doing this thing, and like give the breadth of content and the depth of content. Not so much like I should be able to make a trillion ISK with only 1 hour a week of play. Like, that's a totally different thing.
Yeah, you could.
Well, I'm just going to comment about what Bad MP3 said. He said Eat puts zero effort in and is the richest player in EVE Online history. Look, the thing that, and you can drink from me saying look, but one of the things that makes EVE great is the fact that not everything happens in space. Mm-hmm. Not everything happens inside the game. The amount of work that Eep put into creating his casino site, the amount of effort that he has to put in managing that, what the bankers do, attracting clients to it in what should be, one would think, a reasonably competitive environment. People talk about the Matani, whether or not he logs in. Who gives a crap? He's a damn administrator. He's a front man for other administrators, or whatever you want to call it. There are so many different things that you can do related to EVE Online. And if you're real good, you can do stuff that is kind of outside the game that affects inside the game.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're real good, somebody wants to pay you money to do that because you're providing a value.
Mm-hmm. Like the link I put in the bottom of TeamSpeak and everywhere. Another bit of propaganda for World War B. No, it's not really, but still, I love those. The bees need you almost as much as you need them. I love those posters. They've been in London for years because the bees are in decline. But yeah, still good. Funny.
Well, the bees aren't in decline anymore. Declan, sorry.
Yeah, decline. Yeah, no, it is decline. I see what you did there. And apparently, Bad MP3 says that, Eat makes $2,000 a month from Google AdSense. He showed traffic stats a while ago. Using that data, he used to gauge how much AdSense money is generated. Yes and no. In the age now of where most people use ad blockers, you don't get that traffic.
Well, and here's the thing. And so what?
Yeah.
I mean, again, you're going to have entrepreneurial people out there who are able to parlay what it is they do into something that attracts attention, attracts customers, attracts viewers.
If I wanted to, I could be an arsehole and put Google ads all over Tote Leaf. I don't, because I don't want to. I could do it very simply. I could have two tiny little ads, one at the top, one at the bottom. That would be it, I'm going to have a look quick now.
Could put a big I want ISK ad at the top and, probably get a few billion ISK every once in a while.
Isn't this the part where you say support us on Patreon?
No, I do sometimes, but yeah, no, I don't really say that here. I'm going to say it on Patreon, whatever, but totally, that's what I do. I've done that for that very reason because, hell, I'm lazy. Dirk's lazy. We made it because we were lazy and made a content thing that we were easy, and that's what it is. I just sometimes... That's how it is. I don't do what I do here on EVE Radio, whatever I do with a New Eden Update or Tote Leaf or anywhere else I go, to make money. I do it for the content because I like the community. If I wanted to make money, I could easily make money, and it would work. It wouldn't be much money, I only get $23, $24 a month or whatever it is on Patreon, shit like that, because, well, that's what happens, And that is when you add it all up, I'm not there to make money. If I wanted to, I could very easily because there's enough people out there that you can do. Look at TMC. I'm sure TMC has a good ad revenue that comes in that allows them to pay for certain things. Remember, not all of that money goes straight into the Matani's pocket. No, it's got to pay for the hosting and the server costs and all this and that and all that sort of shit. When most people actually don't make money, they probably lose money out of it.
Yeah, there's a big evil about like, oh, RMT, you're making money, and I'm like, but we're also working our butts off to get you your stuff. Like, when it came to monetizing Prosper, like, if I may take a side thing, is that I had to sit there and go, whatever I do needs to, if I turn on money, it needs to pay like for a case of beer a month. Like, if I can't make that kind of money, then it is not worth bothering people about it. Mm-hmm. Like, if I have to put really obnoxious clickbaity ads all over my stuff just to get there, like, oh God, like, no, that's not worth it. Or if I turned on regular ads for the show, I get so little click through in the grand scheme of things that, like, we're talking about $2 or $3 a month in ad revenue, and I'm like, oh yeah, let me go bother people for that. Even though it takes all of this work and it takes all of this effort to week over week make the sort of content that is nowhere else. Like, if somebody thinks that's evil, then you know what? Just keep wailing at your keyboard. I'm sure the Space Police will come to be the warriors you desire. But like, the fact that there is the breadth and width of the game is I think the feature more than the issue.
Yeah, again, that's it. You know, if CCP allow you to do this and say, you know what, we allow you to actually monetize certain things, like turning on monetization on YouTube. I've got that on for every video that I put up, right? I don't earn anything out of it. I put it on there because YouTube says, hey, have it on there. It might make you get more views and this and that. No, I don't care, whatever. It's there for a reason. You know, if people want to support me in what I do, there's Patreon for that. You know, if they want to support me in-game, they can send this to my DJ character. Very, very simple. If they want to support me in what I do here at Eve Radio, they can donate to Eve Radio. They can buy a Plex from us. That sort of stuff. It's very simple. But we don't ask for it. We don't go, you've got to have it. You've got to do it. Or we're not, you know, if we don't get to, you know, $1,000 a month, we're not going to be able to do it, because that would be stupid. And then you'd end up not doing the content, and then people would not do it, or other people would do it in a poor way. I mean, look, exactly the same as you. There's not like a limit that you say, as you said, you know, you don't have to get to that case of beer a month. You're still going to do it because you've got the passion for doing it. Correct?
I'm gonna start charging for advertising. If you want me to advertise for your corp or like something you want, you want to do, yeah, I'll just mention it on every fucking show.
Mention it on show, or just have it in the background on your green screen a little bit.
You want to send me some real money? I'll wear a T-shirt that has your corporation logo on it.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And it's
Dude,
more
Dirk
that like
is the one that could do that, right? Of all the fucking shows he's on, Dirk could be the one to do it.
Dirk is everywhere.
During a war, I'm going to raise my rates to 150 million ISK per word.
I mean, if anybody can pull off running ads for people, it's Dirk, because he fucking is just.
Dirk placement is now a thing.
I'll just do it in the background. I won't even have to say. I'll just put it up on like the green screen or something.
Yeah, just put it in the background, like ding, it just comes up and goes, and Dirk's like talking about, goes, and you know what really gets me off in this war? The Mittani, he's not doing this. He presses a button on his keyboard and just a picture appears. Hate Mittani, fight people, da 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 da, whatever, something like that. And BC,
that brought to you by Pandemic Legion.
Exactly. BC,
Pandemic Legion, your new overlord.
You're remoting into us today, BC. I see, as an iOS device.
Okay.
You're on your iPad. Are you outside? You in the garden?
I'm in the bedroom.
You lazy fuck.
Slacker.
And BC, is that BC Hot Drop? BC's been here for like 20 minutes, just been being quiet. And they just
I've been off and on listening to everything.
Yeah.
I was actually going to come in here and say something, but y'all had already moved on when I came in, so I was like, whatever.
What was you gonna say?
I don't remember now.
Content.
Content.
It was probably Lockfox being wrong about something.
That's pretty common. I as much as people like to pretend otherwise, I usually have like a 50% accuracy rate.
I didn't want to bring this up. I know this is totally off topic, but I've been thinking about it. Again, me and Dirk talked about it yesterday, and it's like, you know, and Wiggles, I think, will definitely appreciate where I'm coming from. The community of Eve is seriously changed. And I don't mean the quote Rockstar quote community. You know, when I got on Eve Radio, I started as a music DJ. And the reason like I said, I've been thinking about this really hard the last couple of days, because it shows me that there's definitely been a change in the y'all talking about new player experience and stuff. And that's kind of what brought this up, is there's definitely been a change in what in this game. And I just go back to personal experiences, such as I became a DJ in 2011, April, I believe, on Eve Radio, just playing music. Was there for about 6 months and realized, you know, I did a lot of talking with Dirk and stuff and court members and stuff about Eve. There wasn't really a lot of things out there. There were some podcasts. Eve Radio really didn't have much in the way of talk shows except for Funky Bacon. And I said, hey, I want to start a show, a weekly show. We get on, we talk about Eve, we talk about the changes coming up. We talk about, what changes we'd like to see, what could be, what would make the game fun as players, and like I said, when it first started, it was me and another DJ, and some people, and then Dirk came on, and then the show has progressed to where it is now, the Open Com Show. But me and Dirk have been talking about stuff lately, and it's like, look, I go back and I look at what we have now, and versus then. I mean, back then, again, a couple of podcasts that were pretty. Some more steadier than others. Eve Radio, same thing, was kind of big and was getting on its a little bit of a decline there. But then now, And then about halfway through this process, we made the jump to, hey, look, here's this new thing, Twitch.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's people streaming the stuff that they're playing. I went to a Blaze and I said, look, you know, we need to start, you know, streaming this stuff live. This is the next big thing. You know, he really didn't agree. You know, but we started doing the show. I said, okay, fine, we'll do our show. We're gonna do our show. I told Dirk will admit he was very hesitant in the very beginning to put his face on anything. You know, as a show,
and ultimately proved my ass right.
well, yeah, but you get what I'm saying, though, right? I mean, again, there was this fresh new thing. So to some extent, we were kind of like at that entry point of, here's this new thing. I felt that it was absolutely the way to go. People, you know, Dirk was like, why do people want to watch Talking Heads? And I was like, because they fucking do. And we started doing that. And now look at it. I mean, we come, you know, 2-3 years down the road. And, you know, and I bring this up because the new player experience is, you know, and also not just that, but you know, me and Dirk have talked about this, the community as the, you know, what would be acceptable and was, you know, socially allowed versus what's now not, you know, what is, you know, social, you know, maybe things like, maybe we should have seen it, Dirk. Maybe we should have seen the writing on the wall with stuff like Erotica 1 and stuff like that happened.
Well, we did.
Whereas before that, it kind of was like, I mean, obviously we saw this as, oh, here's a turning point. CCB's doing this, but maybe it's not to the point where we didn't notice that here's this thing now where we are becoming like a full 180 degrees of Eve is hard, Eve is bad, it is gangsta, it is ghetto, get used to it, to welcome to Merry, Happy, Poppins, Puppyland, you know, Clown Town.
Well, there is again. You know, Eve's 13 years old, right? I mean, Eve's 13 years old. It just had its bar mitzvah. You know, it's a young adult now. You know, now if you put that into kind of gaming years, right? That's forever. Eve is now like, you know, an adult that you know, recognizes that, you know what, you just can't get drunk every night, you can't be out there kicking people in the teeth the way you used to. You know, well, we need to adapt to a kinder, gentler society. Not necessarily in game. We should all be shooting each other in the face in one way or another. You know, because it's a video game for Christ's sakes. But you know, maybe just the way that you know we treat each other personally. That's not necessarily a bad thing. Okay, I mean, you know, these are good things, and it just has to do with the maturity of the game as it goes on, and as new people come in. I mean, you go back to 2003, right? I mean, God,
well,
how old were some of these new players today then?
I'm just saying, obviously there will be changes, but I'm just saying that again. What I've been looking at is just because, like I said, I've kind of been going around, and that's how I found Dirk. I just randomly found Dirk last weekend on that other show, he did last weekend.
Tinfoil.
Because
no, it was the Caleb thing.
Okay,
I've been going around and just
SEC.
looking at people streaming for Eve and other stuff as well, and just kind of popping in their channels and seeing what they're talking about, who are they, and it's like, you know, I couldn't have done that 2 years ago because there'd have been maybe 2 people streaming. Now there's a good 6, 7, 8 people. Now a lot of them don't really have a lot of people viewing, but.
I'm laughing because Caleb. Bob one was 9 years old when I started playing. Question mark.
Exactly. Well, no, not sure. I mean, look, you know, the technology has moved on, right? Or you know, the technology has progressed, all right? You know, pre-Twitch, you know, yeah, you were doing podcasts. You know, the idea of doing video just really wasn't there in any kind of easy way. Yeah, you could do YouTube, but that really just wasn't the shtick for the podcast community. But moving over to Twitch is a little bit easier, especially for those of us who like a live audience. But what is interesting, right, is that no, you didn't have new bro podcasts back then. You didn't have somebody who started playing Eve on day one and saying, I'm going to start podcasting my experiences. But now, because Twitch is so easy, and because we have a generation of actual human beings who have grown up like expressing themselves on their freaking, you know, smartphones
well, let's take two things. Let's
and
take two
online.
things real quick, Cause I gotta get up and do something here in a second, but I want to take 2 things that I think show in our timeline what I'm talking about. We had a new bro streamer come on our show one time, the Macy Lee.
Yep.
He got trolled the fuck out of this game. Gone.
But that was, you know why that happened?
And that, hold on,
Go.
just say this. Look at the time difference. That was what, Dirk? Like 2 years ago, maybe?
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Maybe a little less. So, but in that small amount of time, now we have new bros that are coming on and streaming, new bro-ettes or bro-dets or whatever you want to call them, streaming. And if what happened to that Macy Lee girl, you do that to these, and it's like, get them.
Well, it's a shift. Not Macy Lee was was kind of early, but before her we had obviously Minchip, and look what Minchip went through. I mean, good Lord, what she went through. I mean, geez, if she had just come around a couple years later, she probably would she'd be an all-star.
Apparently, she's back on Twitter now, like in the last
yeah,
week.
I saw a tweet the other day.
Yeah.
But look, you're going to have changes like that, and it's fine. It's healthy, because once again, regardless of what any individual thinks of any other individual and what it is they do, the choice is theirs to do it, and the choice of is theirs for their viewers and the people who read them and all of that.
I think the biggest
Well,
issue that I
and
have
so
with-
to sort of to head Big Country off at the anti-SJW pass, because I think that's what we're going down to.
Wait, anti-SJW.
And it's more that no, I'm gonna finish. You shut the fuck up.
What's SJW?
The
Social justice warrior.
No, go ahead.
the deal is more that, like, we're at a point that, one, a lot of the player base has gotten older, and to be honest, a lot of us mellow with age, so that's part of it. Two of it is that we know that we can't be burning people the way we used to burn people, because we're almost every gamer, like you cannot have been on the internet in gaming circles for the last 8 years and not have seen an EVE trial offer. Like, they are ubiquitous. And most of these people have tried EVE. Millions of people have tried EVE. And the if we're going to burn all of them, like, there are a lot of people who have a lot of personal scars about it, and those personal scars mean that less people try it. Now, I don't think we're going straight to the kinder, gentler EVE. I think we're taking a lot of the pieces that legitimately suck out of the game, like, can you figure out this mechanic? No, because it's not documented, and almost nobody knows how to use it. And there's a few people who've written their decoder rings in Excel to figure it out, and so a fistful of people get to use the thing, and everybody else sort of looks at it and goes, I don't get it. Like drugs, for instance, are one of my favorite mechanics in EVE, and almost nobody uses them, and it breaks my heart because they're an amazing mechanic. They're just so obnoxiously hard to get your hands on and to move around and to understand what's going on. And by writing tutorials or making videos about it, we're not making drugs worse. We're not, or to suggest some things like maybe reducing the contract changes so that we can actually frickin' trade them, because you can sell them on the open market but you can't move them in contracts. What? Like, those kind of mechanic changes are more about making a system suck less than putting training wheels on the thing to make it easy. Like, Dark Souls doesn't get to be hard just to make you break your controller in half and throw it into your TV and break it. It's because they earn it with the mechanics, and they have a system together that is difficult but fair, and that is extremely hard to get to. And I think that we're getting there through a lot of the work that's been done recently.
I'm pretty positive Dark Souls owns stock in every video controller company.
Dark Souls owns stock. Basically, there'll be a thing that comes out a few months' time. It'll be like, yeah, Razer was purchased on the quiet by the creators of Dark Souls, and then they're like, we own all your souls.
But no, what was the thing really about the social justice warrior thing? I mean, which we've talked about in the past. But I mean, again, I think that is an aspect of it too. I mean, again, I apologize for totally derailing everything you might want to talk about. But because again, this is something I've really been thinking about, because some stuff has happened recently with me and some other streamers, which I don't fucking care. I think it's funny because people are so quick to want to defend other people, and it is the internet. It's literally like trying to talk to somebody through instant. Remember when Instant Messenger came out, or you were trying to talk to somebody, you can say the most ubiquitous thing, just the most nonchalant thing, and the other end might have totally just got offended. Because again, it's not the same as sitting there talking to somebody face to face and one on one, where they can kind of get a feel for exactly what you're trying to say or how you're trying to express yourself. So I mean, to some extent, it's still kind of the same problem where you say something and you're trying to make a point about something, and then the other side either A, understands what you're saying, B, doesn't, or C, just hears what they want to hear, and then that's what they go with. And it's like, so I think that is a big problem that we have now with how this stuff's going on too. But it used to be an Eve that pretty much the common goal was just harden the fuck up, no matter what the problem was. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't seem to so much be that way. And you might be right; it might be people getting older, but.
Well, I
don't know that it is that though. I mean,
there is an element of of it people getting older, but there's also an element of it that this is what's going on in real society. And let's not get into what's going on college campuses and things like that, but it certainly has a friggin' influence on these things. But I mean, I'm glad that the technology has allowed for more people to express themselves in however way they want to do it. I don't get into watching gamer streams. I get into listening to podcasts and watching shows like this because I like to hear kind of the mental stimulation. But I don't even think with streaming of games, it's necessarily about the game on screen, right? It is about the entertainment value derived from the person who is behind it, speaking, laughing, joking, the other people in the channel. It's this social kind of thing that's going on. Mm-hmm. I don't know. But I think it's good because what it has allowed for it has allowed for more people to get involved and provide more content, whether you think it's high level content or low level content, to somebody out there. It may be interesting to them, and it didn't exist before.
Well, back to the Eve thing. Let me say this, and this is something too that we can you can talk about or whatever. Okay, so I have been watching people play Eve, right? Mm-hmm. I've been watching Defiant Daniel. I've been watching Zarvox. I've been watching Fintaru. I've been watching Raph about it. I've been watching Rain and Scared Panda and Sutonia. And I'll tell you, here's what I see. And predominantly this is, and a lot of no names. I don't want to call them no names because they don't deserve to have their names shouted out, but just because I click on them and just they have some random title to their stream and they're doing. Majority of the people are doing this. Either it's Diapo who's just staring at a station. Mm-hmm. Or it's Zarvox and Sutonia and them who are out doing little.
Well, they're doing something, but they're interacting with their viewers.
Let me just do this real quick. So they're doing like little roams or little whatever, or sometimes like you see Not Purple Shoot at Fleet, or might have one or two dudes streaming mining or like a mission. Mm-hmm. But a big chunk of the people seem to be doing exploration, and I want to bring this up because this is I don't know exploration anymore. Like I said, I taught myself how to do it back in the olden days of where you had to carry 20 different probes of different types.
Yeah.
And drop shit at planets. If anybody, people go, oh, I remember that. No. I'm not talking about the back when it was harder but easier now. I'm talking about back when it used to be where you had to go fucking scan shit down like a grown man. Then they made it easy for children. Well, they made it even easier for children.
And I'm
talking about.
I'm going to cut you there because at the end of the day, remember, if they didn't do that, the player base may not have come and changed, and you would have people doing.
No, that's okay. I'm just saying that. So I've been watching these people do explorations, and now there's this mini game thing, okay? Mm-hmm. And I should probably know how to do it, but I don't. But let me tell you, here's the problem. I have watched, sorry, like I'll even throw it Raph about it, and I think Panda. I've watched them do this a million times. I still don't know how to do it. Not once has any of these people really sat down and said, here's what I'm doing. I know it's similar to Minefield in that, Minesweeper, that there's little numbers, and you click on it and it tells you like you're so close to something. But it's literally, I sit there watching it go click, 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 click.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
That's what I do. That's what I do when I'm doing it.
But what does that even? That's what I'm saying.
This is the thing. I've got all the skills trained to 5, and I'm in a ship that gets bonuses to it. So you like click, 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 done. You're getting it.
Yeah, but are you streaming it?
No. Well, even when I do, I have streamed it in the past, and that's it. You click through to do it because you're doing it to do it as fast as you can to make the ISK per hour. Unless you're doing
it on
a
stream, like you can't be sitting there if this is your stream content. Mm-hmm. I have this problem doing the economic stream is that there is an FAQ, but I'm on every week, and I have an audience that by and large wants the content and has seen more than one show, and so so personally, the way I deal with this is that before and after the show, I try to hit like the FAQ points and be like, okay, this is how the graphs were made, and this is what you have to know about Plex, and I'm going to hit some bullet points to try and make sure that people who've tuned in for the first time and want to know about it, like, know, and we'll talk about it at length if you want to sit through to the questions section of the show. And so this is because I have very specifically designed the content because of the sort of complaint that Big Country has. Because if I just came on every week and did my 30-minute show and just clicked off, I don't think anybody would watch it. Like I'd have like 30 viewers, and I think most of them are tuned in right now to this show. And if I want to make Eve market news at the same level that we talk about real life market news, where we have not just one show that's technically deep, you have MSNBC and they're like, and this month this thing and this thing, and CNN coming in with, and if you wanted to know more about this blank thing, like all levels of content from your Mad Moneys all the way up to, and the Dow Jones is down 40%, like thing, like that whole tower doesn't exist unless we can make a gentler slope as a content thing so that it's not just this mechanic is hard and it needs to be hard because then I have a niche. It's that it's hard, but let me help you get through some of the levels so that you can get up there, because I've been doing the market stuff for years now, and I can't impart that in the 30 minutes of post show. I have to give you guys the breadcrumbs, the stair steps to get there, and that's actually what I'm going to end up working on the hiatus, if I may go off in a second.
Yeah.
Here is that, like, so I'm taking the show off the air for the summer because the news tends to dry up, the market tends to get a little cooler and more stable, and if there's no movements, if there's no big movements, there's nothing to report as news. It's the same as last week. The prices are basically the same. Like, that's a boring show. So the goal of this hiatus is to go make a website so you guys can get access to the tools I use, because right now I'm the only one. So there have been a couple people in the past. I'm the only one who's doing traditional technical analysis of the market, and it's been bothering me as a content creator that I have no one else to talk to other than like Dirk here and Wiggles and Caleb and maybe a dozen people who really get it at that sort of level, because they're not going to go install R and hit databases and try to mung 100 gigabytes worth of data into something useful, because I have brain damage. I'm the only person who has that much brain damage. I'm the only idiot stupid enough to do this.
Also, you like doing it, and it's the same
You're
thing as well.
also one of like 5 people in Eve that have hand painted their own computer case. So, you know.
It's one of those things. Again, this is about what it is, and we're going to kind of wrap up the show in the next 5-10 minutes because, well, we're getting to all the 2-hour mark, and live, yeah, fine. But the people who listen to podcasts, you guys listening right now, you're the people I love because you've got right to the end. You've gone through the outer bit of the pizza, you've got through to the juicy middle, and you're right into the middle of it, the very, very center where there might be goodness and whatever. But no, you're there, and you've got right to the end.
What fucking direction do you eat your pizza in?
Sometimes in, sometimes out. Depends what it is. If it's
You
stuffed,
start with
The real question,
you start with the outer
only
crust and
two-
work your
it
way to
depends.
the
It
point?
depends on what crust it is. If it's a stuffed crust and a certain special one, sometimes
Hold
yeah.
on, wait. Even with the crust, it doesn't matter. There's only 2 ways it matters. Do you eat it flat or do you fold it?
I eat it flat, motherfucker. I don't fold that shit unless I'm eating a calzone. I mean, a calzone is already folded. GG.
You probably eat pizza with a knife and fork, don't you?
Sometimes yes. Depends where it is. If you're in a restaurant where they bring it to you and you sit there, yeah. I mean, when we was in Bulgaria, I had the best pizza in the world apparently, and yes, we did eat it with a knife and fork. But also,
Wow.
that's what it was. You know, but for example, if we get a pizza delivered from Domino's or whatever, yeah, just pick it out of the box, start eating it. But whatever. Hot dogs with a knife and fork. Depends.
Only if it's got chili and cheese and shit all over it.
Yeah, if you're gonna get like messy hands, but whatever, yeah. What's wrong with you? Crust last. It depends. Crust first, depending on what it is. Anyway.
Now we've really got into the meta meat of the show, right?
Exactly.
The only food you're allowed to eat with your hands to get absolutely nasty, disgusting, is fucking ribs.
Ribs,
If you eat
chicken
ribs
wings.
with fucking, you're just not a man. If you eat ribs with a fucking,
Yeah. Anyway, well,
Man, you know, when I was a kid, you'd fold up a piece of pizza, you'd eat it from the front, and the crust was the thing that you decided whether or not these kids nowadays, you know what I mean? They come in here eating their crust first. They've turned it upside
Make
down.
pizza great again.
see right now,
Make
like,
2016.
but you know what?
The pizza
USA.
community is changing.
I'll tell you what though, but a legitimate pizza contest, you are allowed to discard the crust. Crust is hey, it's not.
Caleb says ribs are eaten with no hands. Just nom, 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 nom. Anyway, let's
Bucket.
bucket. Let's end. I'm just gonna bring this up on the screen, but yeah, this is a big bag of crisps. This is a big fucking bag of crisps. Fucking huge.
Those aren't crisps. Crisps are potato chips, aren't they?
Well, no, these are. I don't know.
Those are puffs.
Yeah, they're puffs, they're crisps, whatever. We bought them the other day. We went shopping. We was like, oh, we're gonna buy loads of shit. So we bought loads of stuff. My girlfriend's now looking at me going, why are you moving them? Stop moving them. Stop it. Anyway,
Well, I mean,
radio.
you got a couple things on here, okay, and we do have to,
Yep.
we do have to cut it up, right? Well, we mentioned that Eve turned 13 the other day.
Yep.
Shout out to Sindel.
Yeah.
Sindel Pelion.
yeah, here's the thing. If you go to FanFest,
Got her FanFest baby on.
Yeah, exactly. She announced today to the world, or it's yesterday, a couple of days ago, on May the 7th, so yesterday, the surreal world of Iceland. She basically put her roundup of FanFest up. She spent a bit of time out of FanFest. She went to Paris and then that. Turns out, yeah, she's up the duff. She's up the spout. She's pregnant. Well done, Sindel. Well done. So there's going to be a little baby.
But who's the daddy? Is it Guard?
Well, this is the thing. Then no one's
Her
actually.
husband's Baggy.
Yeah, Baggy is officially the dad, but we're not sure because there was a tweet storm going around earlier on that's saying, who is it? Who's the daddy or whatever? Like, and then she said, well, it could either be Xander or it could be anyone else who went to FanFest that they were with. We don't know.
Apparently, the story
That is
is
the
they
most
told YOLO
terrifying
that it
idea.
was his, and that's why he left.
Oh shit, son.
Oh my God.
But yeah, congratulations to Sindel. She can't drink for 9 months or however long it's going to be, so that sucks. But hey, well, what are you going to do? Just sing songs.
That is so not true. My mama drank the whole time I was in prayer. I'm fine.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you came out just fine.
You came out perfect, BC. You're perfectly fine. You're like, yeah.
We love you.
And I love that. I just looked down at the thing, and Dirk's like, Yeah, I didn't go to FanFest because I was, I couldn't afford it, but whatever. Maybe I'm planning to go. It's on my cards to go next year, and literally we'll go to FanFest, and then we'll finish FanFest, and then we'll go to Bulgaria for holiday there because it's birthdays and stuff like that.
Well,
So
you could
it's-
not do that and just go to Vegas. And be
Yeah,
a
come into
man.
Vegas.
well, again, that's potential. That's if I've got the money, might go Vegas. I can't go Vegas this year, but maybe
You
next
got
year.
your sugar mama now.
I'm trying to lock in my plans, actually.
Yeah, well,
Here's a legit question for
Yeah.
Sindel, though. What names might she have? If it's a girl, will she name it Eve?
yeah.
Or like Raven?
Yeah, Raven, or you can go
Or
through
Jamil.
Jamil.
So nobody
Jamil.
knows.
Jamil.
Or,
Born in the year of Jamil.
or you know what? If it's a guy, just name it Angry Concord. Angry Concord guy. Anyway,
That's what middle names are for, right?
Yeah.
That's the hip trend.
the hip trend.
Make bullshit middle names.
Make bullshit great again. So let's go around the horn.
There's your hashtag.
There you go. Yeah, exactly. Also, by the way, I feel very sorry for the American political system. I really do. I just feel
Oh God, we are on the darkest timeline here.
Oh, it's so bad.
Why is that?
Well, the fact, that he may actually get elected as president, really.
Just that it's become a complete comedy shit show.
Yeah, really.
Don't feel bad about the American political system, because that'll be us doing it to ourselves. The question will be, what will be the ripple effects for the rest of the world?
Well, you know what?
Yeah,
I feel
what happens when he fires all the nukes and
All I
everything?
got-
exactly.
all I've got to
'Cause
say-
the nukes aren't going to hit here; they're going to hit somewhere else.
All I'm going to say is I feel really, really bad for the new mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, who got elected the other day. When the announcements happened and obviously they're all at City Hall doing it, the one person from Britain First, who is a dick, turned his back on him and said, "I'm not acknowledging you." It's like, hold on, no, this isn't like, The Voice or whatever, or The Weakest Link. Yeah, he just said, like, he's a Muslim. So what? Who gives a fuck about his religion? Anyway,
Skill training
Anyway.
was destroyed and you died.
thank you very much. Let's go around the horn. BC, what do you want to pimp? Anything you want to pimp?
I want to pimp Donald Trump, dude. I personally am excited
Oh
about
my
it.
God.
I can't imagine the fun shenanigans we're gonna have for the next 4 years.
BC, do you know what political party Donald Trump is running for?
Is the one with the donkey?
No, it's not.
Oh
Yeah,
dear.
he's Republican.
Yeah. Well, whatever.
Well, not.
That's not the word I would use, but yeah, technically.
He's running for the Trump Party.
Yeah,
Pretty
Trump
much.
make Trump great again.
Make Trump great again, loads of money. No, Open Comm Show on thebatani.com on Thursday nights. Is that 0100 Eve time?
100.
0100
Yeah.
Eve time? I'm guessing it's 0100. It's an hour later than it used to be on Eve Radio, so it's 0100.
Yeah. Friday morning 100, which
Yep.
is Thursday night for most of us in
Dirk,
Dreamland.
anything you want to pimp out?
Nope, I was just going to say that.
And then talking in stations.
Well, yeah, talking in stations. You know what? If any of you are out there in any of the new bro systems or things like, I don't know, throw something up. I think it might be good for new bros to not only, not necessarily get ganked on station or scammed right off the bat, but maybe they need to listen to some, tell them about TotalLeave.com. Tell them about, the different podcasts and the different sites that they can go read something about the game. Because I think as much as the social interactions are key to keeping new players going, I think also broadening their understanding of what EVE is about and all of the different variations of what people think EVE is about, is helpful as well.
Yeah. So yeah, there's that. Locke, anything you want to pimp out? Lockbox. Did we lose Lockbox?
The Eve Prosper Market
I
Analysis
didn't
Show.
press the push to talk button because I'm amazing at this. Talking to myself. So Eve Prosper, that'll get you to Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and the blog. We are live on Fridays at 0300, so tune in right after that meta show.
The Open
We're
Com
gonna
Show.
the Open Comm Show. We're going to be taking a break over the summer, but we still have shows into June, so come tune into that.
And I'm sure if there was a massive change or something going on, you probably put a special out or something like that.
Oh, absolutely. And we'll still be doing we've been doing monthly wrap-ups for the 07 show, just like Hendrik Taladar. So those will keep coming out. Those don't stop. But if you guys want the best graph porn that isn't coming out of CCP, you got to go check out the Eve Prosper show.
You'll actually learn something about technical analysis. But yeah, you could do like a special. Breaking news: these plex are too damn low. Which is something nobody's ever said.
That is exactly what I was trying to do on the frickin' Talking in Stations, and all the shit I got for saying a number that was over the floor at the moment. I'm like, yeah, go buy them. This is metagaming. Do what I told you to do.
It's like, don't do what I'm doing. Do what I say. Just do it. Just do it. Go and do it. Don't make me rub my hands with making the monies.
It dipped under 950, and I'm like, yeah, 950 is my target. And everyone's like, it's at like 945 right now. I'm like, yeah, so go buy.
What is funny about the whole Plex thing, right, is during every stage of the ride up, we would hit these periods where it was like, oh my God, the price of Plex, it's too high. Oh, it's killing us. Okay. Just remember that now that it's gone down, the people who are really making a stink about it are the rich.
Yep.
The rich are screaming right now.
Make the rich great again.
Yeah, make the rich great again. Trump Eve 2016.
Oh dear. As for me, TotalLeave.com, I linked it in there earlier on. That's the little silly site that myself and Dirk run. Basically, you know what? If you're lazy like us and you just want, somewhere to get all your news from in a nice, easy, mobile responsive format that is very, very easy and nice to view. And the fact that some of the feeds have come back online, like the EOC TV's come back on because they've re-updated again. You can find out all the podcasts, new headlines from all the major 3 news sites, all the blogs, all the dev posts. If you want to see what the dev has said in French or something like one of the devs, it'll be there. Dev blogs and all that, and it's there. You know what? It's free. Don't charge anything for it. I'm thinking about possibly needing. I'm going to speak to the guys behind it. Well, the guy behind it, Mad Dog, about slightly changing it so you can maybe theme it a little bit, so you can have your own theme. So you could have a Caldari theme or an Amar theme. I might do that. I'm not sure. Maybe. I'll have the standard default as well. There's that. There's also the New Eden update, which I try to put out every day. Sometimes I miss it, like this Friday where I actually was. Basically, I had a cold, and you probably still can hear it. My nose was streaming so bad, it was just snot coming out everywhere. Anyway, that was good. Also, eve-radio.com, where if you are listening to this live from, thank you. If you're watching on Twitch or YouTube, go to eve-radio.com to carry on listening to the music that's going to come up after we finish, because I'm going to do a little bit of music as well. And help support Eve Radio. Keep us on air, because otherwise, without you guys, there wouldn't be Eve Radio, and then we'd be doing this wherever we would. But that's pretty much going to do it for this week of This Week in New Eden for Sunday, the 8th of May, 2016. Thank you, as always. Past shows and episode notes can be found at show.gamingradio.net. Music coming up next. But until then, I'm going to leave last words up to whoever wants them. Who wants to say, oh, by the way, big shout out to the guys at Podside taking a break, because, yeah, that's what all I have to say is, yeah, they're taking a break.
Why do you get a shout out for taking a break?
Well, sorting their shit out.
Anybody can take a break.
Anybody can take a break. How about a shout out for not having a fucking break in?
Well, whatever. Well, for the 4
what I
years.
need to do is next New Year's Eve, I need to have a blow up so I can take a fucking.
Only the weak take a break.
Only the week take a break unless you're on holiday.
I don't think Dirk heard that.
So hold on. You have a blow up, yeah. Yeah, you could have a blow up, BC, maybe.
Dude, I'm reserving next New Year's Eve for my.
Oh, there you go.
blow-up.
Yeah,
Well, BC,
that's
hold on.
right.
But if you have a blow up, what will it be? Will it be a sheep? Will it be a man? Will it be a woman? Which type of doll?
Where's the P.O. box that we can send blow-ups to you?
Just send it to care of Big Country's Old Folks Home, Texas, and he'll get it somehow. And just like say, put a sheep on the outside of it. He might get it on the internet. I don't know. Anyway, we're out of here. Fly safe.
Thank you for listening. And if you're in America,
Yeah.
go visit your mom.
Yeah, go say Happy Mother's
or
Day
be
to your
nice
mum.
to your wife, who's the mother of your child, or whatever.
If she's the mother.
I have to go
If
do
she's
that.
not the mother of your child, then don't, because that might be creepy.
Well, you may want to look at the kid and be like, I don't know. It doesn't look like me.
All right, take care, fly safe, and remember, if you are out there in the internet and wondering what is going on in the world, remember, you could do a lot better than just remembering that Donald Trump may be the man with his finger on the button next year. Fly safe.
Make nuclear war great again.